The Tigers were home this past week. We'll talk about the game. The Tiger Lacrosse Report starts now. Welcome to another edition of the Tiger Lacrosse Report. I'm your host, Spiro Morekas, along with the head coach of the Tigers, Shawn Nadelen. And coach of the Tigers this past Friday took on the Big Red of Cornell. And you knew going into the game that this was going to be an offensive team that could explode. And unfortunately, they did.
They did. You know, thought we came out and battled hard early. I think just obviously the amount of possessions that they had and our mistakes, obviously led to them shooting the ball pretty well, getting some decent looks at the cage, and they're a high-powered offense for a reason. They can share the ball very well. They move a ton. I mean, for their players to move as much as they do, as well as move the ball, was very impressive to watch in film, and then obviously watching it in the game. They're a product of that with their high-powered offense.
When you have an offense that has 4 or 5 guys that are very explosive, from a defensive standpoint, what can you do? Do you focus on a couple of guys, or how do you do that with a team that has that many weapons?
Well, for us, we've always focused on playing team defense, and I think that's how you have to defend it. Sometimes it poses problems if matchup-wise they might have an advantage athletically or just a certain skill set that you feel like you don't match up well with. So there's definitely those concerns, but in order to do that, everybody's got to do their part, and battle against, a team that has 5, 6 really good offensive players and really dangerous players. Or you what we like to term junk it up, and you throw some different things at them through zone defenses or double shut and make, your 4 poles play their 4 probably best players, and then see, how that throws them off rhythm and then,
Right.
makes them have to really work and do different things.
The other thing that didn't help was the face-offs again early in the game, which we kept giving Cornell possessions, and that's got to take its toll over 60 minutes for the defensive guys that are constantly, in stressful situations.
Yeah, we noticed within that first quarter that obviously we were playing a lot of defense. Our deep middies were, we felt like kind of wearing down a little bit, and that you don't want that in the first quarter. You don't want that at all during the game, but when you feel like your guys are getting a little gassed early on, that might be a tough road for you the rest of the game if you're going to have to do that for the duration of the game. So again, we're looking to find answers and working hard. Shane came in and gave us some reprieve with that a little bit, but we have to do a better job overall of neutralizing possession time and making it at least a 50-50, if not heavier into our favor.
You made a change at goalie also. Shane Brennan in the cage. How did you rate his performance on Friday?
I thought he did well. I think there's still some rust to his game, but I think overall he looked confident in the cage. He was moving to the ball well. I thought seeing the ball very well. So overall, I'd say it's kind of where I expected him to be.
One thing when you play a game at Johnny Unitas Stadium at that time of the day, at that time of the year, the sun really can be a factor. And it looked like in the first quarter that their goalie wasn't seeing the ball. Problem was there were times where there were passes to the Tigers where they couldn't see the ball because of the way the sun was coming down.
Yeah, we had a couple turnovers, coming from that angle where the sun was behind the pass, and it was just tough for our guys to, keep track of that. I mean, us on the sidelines, we're kind of looking into the sun when it was down our end of the field, and you had to have your hand up to kind of block block us in and really see what was going on in the field. Everybody's got to play in it. They had to play in it just as much as we did. So you got to, make sure your players understand it and be smart in those opportunities. But sometimes it's hard to keep that in perspective, when they're out there playing. But I agree. I think their goalie definitely struggled there, but he also struggled, I thought, throughout the game. We just couldn't muster up enough possession time to put some pressure on them.
I was just going to say, I mean, double digits again offensively, so it's not like they were shutting you down completely. And again, this offense is a work in progress with, guys coming in that hadn't played in a while and trying to gel together.
Absolutely. And I feel like we continue to make good strides. Like I said, just feeling it in the game, I felt like their goalie wasn't seeing the ball great. So if we could have had a few more possessions sprinkled in there, kind of late in that second quarter into the third quarter where they made their run, I felt like we could at least chipped in a couple there to not let them go on as big of a run, because I didn't feel like their goalie was really seeing the ball as well as he has in the past.
All right, so the Tigers lose to Cornell on Friday. They go back on the road Wednesday. Well, last week Cornell was number 11. They moved up to 10th. This week the Tigers will take on the Greyhounds of Loyola. They're number 11 this week, so 11's everywhere. Tune in later on this week when the coach and I will talk about the matchup with the Greyhounds. For the head coach of the Tigers, Shawn Nadelen, I'm Spiro Morekas. Thanks for tuning in to the Tiger Lacrosse Report, and as always, go Tigers.